is a step closer to fruition. The first ever players draft for the new WICB Professional Cricket League regional four-day tournament was held this morning at the Accra Beach Hotel here in Barbados. CBC's Shane Jones has more.
The 15-member squads for the 6 franchises for the WICB's Professional Cricket League's regional four-day tournament are now completed. During the inaugural draft, each franchise selected 5 players to go with the 10 they had previously retained. With the very first pick, the Guyana franchise might have surprised a few, going for the Barbadian all-rounder Raymond Reefer to fill what they saw as a weakness for them, while Trinidad and Tobago Red Force snapped up the experienced Ramnaresh Sarwan. The all-Barbadian franchise stuck to their tried-and-tested formula of balancing youth with experience, selecting Tino Best, Shea Hope, Kenroy Williams, Ryan Hines and Roston Chase, all in that order.
I think it went very well according to the plans that we had put in place. We were able to acquire the players that we had identified from the outset. Raymond Reefer was an unfortunate loss, but I think all in all it went well because we felt when we looked at it we would have lost a number of other players. So just losing one player from the draft, I think that it went reasonably well for our planning. And from what we've seen in the past and we've observed the regional tournament, a lot of the players are at the same level. We see this opportunity as the chance to expose more talent, to help to develop more of our cricketers. So we have quite a surplus of cricketers, and it would have been nice if a few more were maybe playing for other franchises, but that's not the case at the moment. But going forward, I would expect to see more of that.
Barbados selectors can also draft in any players currently on West Indies duty who later become available.
I don't know how much we will get of those players because from the scheduling, if you have a player, for instance, who's representing West Indies at both ODIs and Tests, it's unlikely we're going to have his services at all in the season. But for the persons who are playing one or the other, we certainly will have their services and we'll obviously look to utilize them.
The regional four-day competition, which will be played over 10 rounds on a home and away basis, bowls off on November 14th. Shane Jones, CBC Sports.
Thanks, Shane. Now, players who weren't picked in today's inaugural draft, as well as those who will be on West Indies duty, can still feature in regional competitions this season on a pay-for-play basis, where franchises can pay to retain their services as needed. However, such players can only represent one franchise in a given season, even if chosen for just a single match. Now, in what could be an even more interesting development, Roland Holder of the WICB cricket operations says franchises can actually look outside of the region for players.
It can still be done if they can still be allowed one external, maximum of one person from external to the region. So if a franchise wishes to proceed along that path, they're still able to do it.
Now, the tournament bowls off in just over a month's time, but some of the finer details, like the split of financial responsibilities, are still to be ironed out.
We are still currently working with the CFOs of the franchises who are expected to be in place to pin down the exact figure. Of course, you know, it will cost more depending on the territory, etc. So it is still actually being worked on, so I can't put an exact figure to it. I know discussions have been ongoing with the CFOs, etc. We are still being worked on. There have been several meetings between the chief executives of each territorial board and the WICB CEO and president, etc. So it is still ongoing.
Switching sports to hockey, both the Barbados men's and women's teams finished their respective pools on winning notes in first-round action at the World League in Jamaica. Now, yesterday, Barbados women picked up their second victory, beating the hosts 2-1. Cheer King in the 6th minute and Ayana Wilson in the 49th were the goal scorers for Barbados. Trudy Knight got the lone goal for Jamaica. The Bajans were third in their pool on 6 points. Now, the Barbados men, meanwhile, secured their first win following defeats to Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. The Bajans defeated the Dominican Republic 4-2 in a shootout, after the score was locked at 1-1 at the end of regulation time. Akeem Rudder's goal in the 57th minute secured the equalizer for Barbados. Then Rudder again, along with Chris Holder, Che Warner and Sean Keel Wharton, all scored in the shootout to seal the Bajans' victory. The Association of Surfing Professionals Super Bowl Pro Juniors is coming back to Barbados. This event, which includes the November Surf Pro Open for adults and juniors, will be held from November 13th to 16th. PRO of the Barbados Surfing Association, Kamal Clark, says that the competition has already started to attract the attention of the world's top surfers.
We're looking at over 120 surfers that will be coming from around the world. So far, it has just been launched that the ASP is coming back to Barbados, and we have over 40 entries, and that's from as far as Peru. We have North America, we have South America, we have Hawaii. So it's just piling in, and I'm sure that, you know, we will get other regional Caribbean countries joining as they did last year, and the excitement and the buzz is to be in Barbados, and we are very proud of that.
Many more female surfers will be in the waters for this event, and top local junior surfer Chelsea Tuak, who will be competing in the juniors and open categories, is happy about that.
Oh, I'm so excited for that as well. This year, I know it's going to be an even bigger turnout, because last year was kind of first that a lot of the overseas people were learning about the contest in Barbados and learning about the waves in Barbados. So I know that all the comments were really positive last year, and I know that they're coming back and bringing their friends as well. So it's going to be nice to have more than one other girl in the water, because usually when I surf down here, it's just me and the other Chelsea Ruitt. And I think right now we have maybe 12 girls entered, and we can go up to 24 girls. So it's going to be really nice to surf some rounds with the girls and have the spotlight on the girls for once.
President of the BSA, Christopher Clark, says that these competitions provide great exposure for the island and its surfers.
Very important because we have world-class junior surfers here in Barbados, so it's good to bring their competition here to Barbados so they can you know, gain confidence that their skills are there for the world to see and for Barbados to see.
On the football, Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger could be facing disciplinary action after pushing his Chelsea counterpart Jose Mourinho during yesterday's win for the Blues over the Gunners in the English Premier League.
Midway through the first half with the score 0-0, Wenger reacted angry to a tackle by Chelsea's Gary Cahill on Alexis Sanchez, and the Arsenal boss clashed with Mourinho on the sidelines. The pair were then warned by the referee and didn't shake hands at the end of the match. On the pitch, it was Mourinho's men who did the pushing around at their Stamford Bridge ground, beating Arsenal 2-0, thanks to a first-half penalty scored by Eden Hazard when he was brought down by Laurent Koscielny. And then towards the end, former gunner Cesc Fabregas set up Diego Costa for a lovely chip, his 9th goal in 7 games.
Meanwhile, Cristiano Ronaldo has picked up yet another hat-trick for Real Madrid as they blind Atletico Bilbao 5-0 in the Spanish La Liga.
The World Footballer of the Year scored his 13th goal in 6 games when he hit the net 3 times in Real Madrid's 5-0 hammering of Athletic Bilbao on Sunday. It was Ronaldo's 22nd La Liga hat-trick, equaling the Spanish record held by Alfredo Di Stefano and Telmo Zarra. Real are up to 4th in the table.
In motorsports, a serious crash marred the action in Formula One racing yesterday as Lewis Hamilton won the Japanese Grand Prix.
The accident was so bad that broadcasters didn't show any close-ups, and the 25-year-old was rushed to hospital. Scan showed how serious Bianchi's injury was, the mishap overshadowing a race that was won by Lewis Hamilton, who's extended his lead over Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg in the driver's standings to 10 points. There have been no fatalities in F1 since 1994, and Bianchi's crash is the most worrying incident since Felipe Massa was hit in the head by a flying object during the 2009 Hungarian Grand Prix. He recovered and was in Sunday's race, later tweeting, "I was already screaming on the radio 5 laps before the safety car. There was too much water on the track, but they took a bit too long, and it was dangerous."
Well, I'll have a lot more on that crash coming up later on at 8:30 on CBC Sports. But up next, the Business Report.
A smile goes a long way. In fact, It may travel for miles. That's the power of kindness.
Don't mess around now. There are ills you can cure if they're found now. And then your breast exam, a mammogram, and don't forget a monthly self-exam, because your best protection is early detection, and that's the way it's got to be. Mama told me.
This message was brought to you by the breast screening program of the Barbados Cancer Society.
Community Files.
The international business sector will be celebrating a week of activities from October 5th to 11th under the theme International Business, Barbados, Embrace the Opportunities. On Wednesday, October 8th, there will be a careers showcase for university students and other students who are eyeing a career in the international business sector. It will be held on the Guild Lawn at the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus. Students will receive guidance from experts in the field from both the public and private sectors. The showcase will take place from 1 until 6 p.m.
In tonight's business, we hear that support services will be crucial in Barbados adapting to a 24/7 working environment. And there are some basic factors related to service that must first be addressed. This is according to Lisa Cummins, Executive Director of the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries, or BCSI. Now, the BCSI is chairing one of the 3 groups set up out of the social partnership to help put the structure in place for a 24/7 work environment.
One of the challenges that we have been encountering and moving around Barbados is the challenge where people typically do not differentiate between what is customer service and what is a services economy. And what we want to be able to do is to help people to understand that even when you go into a government office and you are engaging with a government officer and you are paying for that service, that there are government services being rendered to you, and the level of service that you are being given, whether in a timely fashion, whether we are able to include issues relating to efficiency and productivity and so on, all of those things go towards Barbados's competitiveness overall.
Ms. Cummins says the group will have to look at a wide range of areas.
We're hoping that as part of this 24/7 committee, that not only do we look at the questions of efficiency and productivity overall, but we are able to identify new services, new niches, new opportunities for employment, new opportunities for entrepreneurship and enterprise, even in all of our existing operations, that will allow us to position Barbados in time to come as a place to do business, not just to do business between 9 to 5, but on a 24/7 basis.
Well, companies in Barbados still have a long way to go before they can be deemed compliant with the provisions of the Safety and Health at Work Act. This from Acting Senior Safety and Health Officer at the Labour Department, Alison Elcock. But she tells CBC News companies are very interested in conforming to the provisions, and the department is happy about this. The main reason for non-compliance, according to Ms. Elcock, is that many companies say they do not know about the legislation, even though it's been in place for a year.
The other issue would tend to be resources in terms of personnel, maybe sometimes finance. And then the attitude towards safety and health is still developmental. It still needs a lot of work, because people tend to think, okay, let's go for PPE first, as opposed to following what we consider to be the correct hierarchy of control, which is to eliminate the hazard or put engineering things in place first. So it's a combination of lack of knowledge, financial and personal resources, and probably above that, the culture still does not exist as much as we would like.
Ms. Alcock says since the Act was proclaimed, about half of the department's inspections have been non-factory settings like offices, nursing homes and schools. And she is generally satisfied with the level of compliance, even though she admits there's still a lot of work to be done.
We've seen an increase in the interest in setting up health and safety committees. As a matter of fact, a lot of the requests for training have been in that area. And so that's one area, and that's an area that we really encourage organizations to go towards, because we're also promoting the concept of self-regulation, where the matters of health and safety are resolved within the organization. The things that we tend to find during inspections that are cause of concern would be either indoor air quality or ergonomics. Fire safety, housekeeping, those are some of the main issues that we encounter.
Here is a look now at a summary of selected stock exchanges in the region.